Good evening, my brothers. I hope you are coping well. Today, I want to talk about why men should want to be married. Listen, there's so much content out there, MGTOW and red pill and black pill content out there stating that you should never get married and all this stuff. Listen, man, that is toxic. Every man, every straight male should aspire to acquire a wife. Listen, I understand women, they get on our nerves, and the feminist movement and a lot of these fucking movements, they like to disenfranchise men. I know there are a lot of forces out there in this universe that is attacking men. I understand that. I get that. But a wife, if you pick wisely, a wife can really get you through these dark times, man. It's really hard out here for men. It really is. We don't get much. Being a man in this society is like you're invisible. The average man is invisible in this society. No one gives a shit about us. No one cares about us. We're touch starved. We don't get any compliments. We don't get anything. Being a man in this society is basically like being in social isolation. It's like being in jail. You know, everybody treats you as a creep or a brute or violent. You know, if you're not the most handsome type of guy, you don't get no play from women. You know, and the thing is, it's really hard out here for men. It really is. And if the average woman lived in our shoes, they would want to off themselves. Because it's tough out here, man. It really is. And so if you can acquire a wife, or if you can acquire a woman who wants to do things for you, who wants to follow you, who wants to stick by your side, if you can find that in any form, you should be grateful. And you should honor her. I'm telling you, man, I'm married. I have 2 daughters. My life is so fulfilling now. My life before getting with her was empty. You know, you're running around on dating apps. You're trying to get your next fix of sex, your next dopamine hit. You try to get the next date, the next girl. You're trying to get better all the time. You're trying to look like this, look like that, so you can acquire a woman. You're trying to do everything in your power to break your back in order to try to get a woman. And those times were tough, man. They really were. Like going around, sleeping around, that's not fun. It's fun for a little bit, but after a while, it's empty as shit. You don't feel anything. You don't. You don't have, like, men, we have limited social interaction as it is. And once you have that dopamine hit, once you get that girl and she ghosts you, what do you have then? But when you have someone who actually cares about you, like a girlfriend or a wife, she's there for you. She cooks for you, cleans for you. She's there by your side. You know, when you get something like that, man, you got to cherish that shit. You really do. And you have to treat your women with respect and dignity. And you need to be appreciative for everything they do for you. I'm telling you, man, being with a woman can really uplift you, man. It really can. Men, married men, earn more than single men. Studies prove that. Married men live longer than single men. The studies prove that. You want to know why these things happen? Because you have someone there. You have someone looking out for you. You have someone going along the journey with you, the journey of life with you. Even little things like she cooks healthier meals for you. She makes sure you go to the doctor. She makes sure that you take care of yourself. She does things for you where you don't have to waste energy on them. She can birth you. She can birth your children, which gives you even more purpose in this life. There are so many things a woman can do for you, man. And you shouldn't just love what they can do for you. You should just love them as people because they're willing to to put everything aside to be with you and to love you. Don't ever take that for granted. Now, I know a lot of men in this circle, they can't even acquire a woman. And that's tough. But the men who can, and they just refuse to commit, or they just keep goofing off and fucking around women and messing with their emotions. You need to get your shit together, man. If you're 25 plus, you need to stop fucking around. And if a woman is willing to give herself to you, and she's a good woman, you better act. Better act accordingly and lock her down. I'm telling you, you'll never regret it. If you make the right moves and you pick the right woman, and that woman is into you and she loves you, she wants to pour every fiber of her being into you, you better commit, man. Don't fuck that up. Even the Bible tells you that. I'm not even a religious person, and even the Bible tells you that. But to the men out here who are struggling and can't acquire a woman to save their life, my heart's with you. And I think the reason why so many men are sexless and so many men are lonely, can't get anything from a woman, is because we're returning to the natural order of things. We really are. I mean, throughout human history, only 40 to 50% of men reproduced. Only 40 to 50% of men, and I think 50% is generous. 40 to 50% of men ever reproduced. Half of men, or even more than half of men throughout human history, never reproduced. And now we're going through that again. Only the top 40 to 50% of men reproduce. The competition is stiff. You know, there was a time where a man was given advantages. You know, he was given the GI Bill. He was given all this stuff after coming back from World War II. He was given all these benefits. I mean, even in society, women weren't allowed to have bank accounts. Women weren't allowed to have certain jobs. Now that they can make their own money, they don't need us for to provide anymore. They can provide for themselves. So now they're even more choosier now. They're even more pickier now. So the competition is stiff. And now that we've returned to the natural order of things, a lot of men are just going to be left out. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. If you don't want to be stuck in that, if you want a chance to reproduce and have a wife or girlfriend, you have to compete. And if you feel like you can't compete out here, then you just go on to the wayside. You just roll over to the wayside. I'm sorry that I'm saying it like that, but nature is cutthroat. Not everyone is meant to reproduce. Not everyone is meant to have a mate. If you look in the animal kingdom, the vast majority of males do not reproduce. And it's becoming like that in the human species as well. And the thing is, it's not like the human species wasn't like this before. The vast majority of our history, most males didn't reproduce. It's just that we had this interim period where we invented civilization and women were second-class citizens. And so in order for them to survive, they had to get with a man. Even a mediocre man, even a subpar man. If he had money, he could provide. And that ensures her survival. So he got to reproduce. But now that women can earn their own money, they can provide for themselves. That same subpar or mediocre man, they don't get to reproduce now. They don't. So if your looks are subpar, if you don't have much prospect, or if you're not economically viable, if you're not educated, if you can't improve in those areas, you're done for. Some men have accepted that. Others are raging out and they're lashing out towards society because they can't get anything. And I understand their anger. I understand their pain. But that's no excuse to lash out against society. Either you get better, you improve, And the thing is, I know it sucks that men have to do the improving. Men have to be the ones to move mountains, and women just exist. But the thing is, man, that's nature. That's biology. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, women are the ones who have to bear children. Women are the ones who have to be pregnant for 9 months. Women bleed every month. Women have cramps and crazy emotions, crazy hormones. So it's not like that. To be quite honest, they go through so much shit physically. Their biology is weaker than ours too. They have to be choosy and picky. They have to be. Because if they get pregnant by the wrong guy, you know, back in the olden days, that was a death sentence, getting pregnant by the wrong guy. Just imagine getting pregnant by a mediocre man. His genes suck, or he can't provide, or he runs out on her. That was a death sentence back then. So that's why women are choosy. That's why you have to compete. Women got the short end of the stick biologically. They're weaker than us. They go through so many ailments. They're the ones who have to receive. They're the ones who have to give birth. They have to risk their lives by giving birth. They have to risk their life. So they got the short end of the stick biologically, but men got the short end of the stick socially. We're not that adept at interpreting emotions. We're not the best at articulating our emotions. We biologically, even though we don't have the same, anchor that women have, our sperm, our DNA isn't worth as much as an egg. So we have to do more. We have to show more. We have to show that, like, we're capable and are willing. Basically, we have to show that we're fit to reproduce. So socially, we have to compete. We have to fight. We have to fight other men in order to reproduce. That's the way it is. So, this game of life is tough for everyone. It's tough for everyone. And a lot of us out here, we're never going to get what we want. Most of us, we're never going to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. That's just the way nature works. And more than half of men will never be able to reproduce because a woman didn't pick them. Women don't want to pick them. And that's just the way it is. So you either compete or you become a genetic dead end. My brothers, I know this video was rough. I've been all over the place in this video, but I hope you catch my drift. Hope you understand that if you can acquire a woman, stop fucking around. Because you're going to get old one day and you're going to have to pay for a woman like that. All right, my brothers. I'll catch you later. Peace.